6 p.m. in Kribi in the Ocean Division of the South Region of Cameroon. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining me on this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe television. First, our major stories. One of the victims of the criminal fire incident that occurred at the Bepe City neighborhood, the Douala 5 subdivision on Monday, has died, bringing the death toll to 4. The burning of the house was triggered by a matrimonial dispute. Latest updates on the whereabouts of the suspect will be revealed in this news edition. And also, the Ministry of Defense unveils more than 1,000 fake certificates in the process of recruitment of young soldiers and gendarme officers into the defense and security force. As immediate consequence, they have automatically been excluded them from the recruitment process and risk being persuaded legally. And also we'll tell you how today is being observed as World Albinism Day. It comes at a time when people living with albinism face several societal and health challenges. Besides being regarded by the society as mystical beings, skin pigmentation, which usually leads to skin cancer, plus poor eyesight are some of the common problems these group of people face on a daily basis in Cameroon and Africa as a whole. In this newscast, we'll be telling you more on how people living with albinism cope with the above difficulties. Those are major stories. Stay with us for details and more. Thank you so much for staying with us. For presentation, I am Immaculate Fogwe. Another victim of the criminal fire incident, Liu Pierre, dies, bringing the death toll to 4. He was burned to death alongside his kids and his neighbor, who was seeking refuge at his house after receiving several death threats from her boyfriend. The said boyfriend burned the house and later escaped. We have details with Cedric Chakutio.
Here is a devastated family after the death of their son and brother, Louis Pierre, 34 years old. He was one of the 2 survivors of the fire incident which occurred in the night of Saturday to Sunday at the Bepe City neighborhood. He passed away last Wednesday, 12 June 2024. He was a child that didn't like problems, one who does not disturb. We are very touched and devastated. Here we are outside. People are coming to check on him and have some news. He and his partner were keenly kept by doctors of the Douala General Hospital. When they were transferred here, they already were in a bad state. One was burnt at 23% and another was burnt at 60%. On their arrival here, they were quickly brought at the emergency for treatment. Mwete Marianne, 21 years old, is still fighting against death with the help of nurses in charge of her case.
La localisation de sa brûlure, notamment le visage, est un facteur de gravité. Alors quand une personne est brûlée au visage, ça sous-entend, on suppose en tout cas, qu'il y a eu inhalation des vapeurs de fumée et ça peut avoir des répercussions au niveau respiratoire. Et c'est cette évolution-là que nous surveillons vraiment de près pour se rassurer qu'il n'y aura pas de complications à ce niveau.
The angry family hopes that the authorities will get their hands on the man suspected of having set fire to the home where the 5 victims were sleeping.
J'espère.
I hope that the suspect will be caught by forces of law and order. He has to pay for what he did. The death of Louis Pierre is thus added to that of the 3 other victims, which are a leader and 2 other children.
A very sad incident indeed. And over 1,300 candidates have been excluded from the ongoing recruitment of gendarmes and defense forces of the Republic of Cameroon over fake certificates. This is the largest number registered after the exclusion of some 929 candidates in a similar process in 2022. Femi Armstrong Sanda completes that story.
The 1,312 identified fake certificates were submitted by candidates interested in an ongoing process to recruit young gendarmes and soldiers into the Cameroonian Defense Forces for the 2024 financial year. In a press release dated June 11, 2024, the Ministry of Defense says the first qualification documents were discovered in the course of appropriate checks to authenticate the certificate of selected candidates for the thorough medical examination conducted prior to the publication of the final admission results. The document includes 1 fake GC advanced level, 12 fake probatoire, 62 fake GC ordinary level, 491 fake Cameroon BAPC, 661 fake BAPC from a neighboring country, and 83 fake CAP. This, according to the ministry, means an automatic exclusion from the admission process into the Cameroonian Defense Forces. The Ministry of Defense indicates that the 1,312 fake certificates means a slight increase in the results of the similar operation, which in 2022 led to the exclusion of some 929 people from the ranks for the admission to the Cameroonian Defense Forces. The files of all the fraudsters detected have been removed from the list without prejudice to the repressive legal measures in force, MINDEF indicated.
And on to something else, road users blind at National Road number 16 linking Kumba, Tombel in the southwest region and Loom in the Lithra region have been sending out distress calls to the government to help rehabilitate the road, which has been in deplorable state for the past 7 years. However, one would likely say their worries have been addressed as the first phase of rehabilitation works have been completed on the stretch. Asedu Tiliengo presents to us the road linking the southwest region to Lithra region in the following report.
The 35-kilometer stretch linking Kumba, Tombel in the southwest region and Loom in the littoral region for the past 7 years has been a nightmare for road users.
For the past 7 years, this road has been unusable by the population.
When we came here for the first survey of this road, we discovered that even motorbikes could not ply the entire road from point zero right up to the end. There are areas where we had to go down, the bikes will manage inside the bush, comes out, we trek and meet the bikes.
In a predominantly agricultural zone, farmers complain that they have been unable to get their goods from farm to market, a veritable setback to their economy. Having heard the plights of the commuters, a project to rehabilitate the road was launched by the government on the 27th of December 2023.
But with the coming effort of the Minister of Public Works, he has made finances to see that this road is open and the road is circulating with all classes of vehicles, from Kumba to Loom and Loom to Kumba.
The Kumba, Tombel and Loom stretch has undergone the first phase of works and currently at the second phase, according to a civil engineer,
which entails the filling with pozzolan. We are doing push, removing the poor materials from the marshy areas to put aside and put in good materials. And we are creating offshoots with this high range to see that water runs away from the surface of the road.
Their hope is that the project will be realized in due course for normal circulation to resume.
And on to one of our major lead stories. Today is being observed as World Albinism Day. It comes at a time when people living with albinism face several societal and health challenges. Besides being regarded by the society as mystical beings, skin pigmentation, which usually leads to skin cancer, plus poor eyesight in some of the common problems this group of people face on a daily basis in Cameroon and Africa as a whole. In the report coming up next, Siri Chakuto narrates some of the ordeals faced by albinos.
Today, 13th of June 2024, is International Albinism Awareness Day. According to statistics, it is estimated that in Cameroon, at least 12,000 inhabitants live with albinism. Albinism is a genetic anomaly characterized by an absence of melanin or pigmentation in the hair, skin and eyes. This manifests itself as white hair and much lighter skin.
En tant que personne albinos, La difficulté est de pouvoir me mouvoir en plein air, sans mon parapluie, sans ma crème solaire. Il faut pouvoir éviter les expositions de plus de 15 minutes, ce qui n'est pas très évident pour quelqu'un qui est très actif dans la journée. La difficulté aussi, c'est que les gens ne se rendent pas compte à quel point le soleil est dangereux.
A visible difference and still very little understood in many communities. Hunted, at times kidnapped, killed, dismembered as part of rituals, the daily life of many people with albinism are marked by fear and dehumanization. This is the experience of Londingwaka Giselle.
The first one was one beggar that I met when I was in Yaoundé. He came to beg, and as I gave him nothing, he just took my hair from my head. Fortunately, one of my friends that was beside me just ran behind him and collected back the hair. The second one is one close friend that unfortunately has asked me for my hair to practice some rituals. From that time, I really am afraid to allow my hair anywhere.
Je m'inquiétais surtout quand je passais en route et les gens lançaient des termes comme Gengeru.
The Association for Women Living with Albinism in Cameroon, Albibel, has been fighting for almost a decade to defend and promote the rights of this minority considered unlucky.
We advised women to go ahead and to fight and to give the best of them in the society, to be the models in the society, to be entrepreneurs, and to be any kind of woman that everyone can take it for example.
The prevalence of albinism varies around the world. In Europe and North America, 1 in 20,000 people suffer from this. Estimates from the World Health Organization range from 1 in 5,000 to 1 in 15,000 cases in sub-Saharan Africa, where this condition is more prevalent. However, there is little data available on the prevalence of albinism by country.
Siri Chakucho reporting there. And calls encouraging Cameroonians to register their names in electoral list register intensifies, with a ruling CPDM party now trying to fit in the shoes of the opposition. In Kribi, Ocean Division of the South region, bigwigs of the CPDM party were seen mobilizing the population to get themselves registered in the electoral list. Innocent Aze reports.
Less than 80 days left for the registration process to close. Calls and sensitization for the population to register their names in the electoral register intensify. Militants of the CPDM party are now following footsteps of the opposition by stepping out to sensitize Cameroonians to be in possession of a voter card in order to exercise their civic rights come 2025. In Kribi, Ocean Division of the South region, CPDM militants want to win the entire population. Madeleine Solange Ekitike, First Deputy Kribi City Mayor, says they have been braving the rains and other challenges to woo and sensitize persons to get registered in order to exercise their civic rights in 2025. This copied strategy to her is because many are still hesitant to register and vote for their favorites and hard-working leaders. Though the population of Kribi hail the sensitization, some regret that CPDM officials attacked and tried to stop the opposition from carrying out similar sensitization, as if Elekam belongs only to the CPDM. Elekam officials present went on to register tens of people who aspire to cast their votes in 2025. Regarding the large mobilization of Cameroonians at Elekam registration posts across Cameroon to register their names in the electoral register, some civil society actors believe 2025 will be a decisive democratic year in a country under 91-year-old President Paul Biya for 42 years.
And now out of Cameroon, at least 80 people have died after a boat capsized in the Democratic Republic of Congo on Wednesday. And in other news, South Africa's opposition party, Inkatha Freedom Party, has agreed to join the government through a coalition with the African National Congress. Major political parties are working on a coalition as the parliament prepares to elect a new president on Friday. Details of the stories with Malaglory.
At least 80 people have died after a boat sank in Democratic Republic of Congo. The disaster happened on Wednesday on the Kwa River, 70 kilometers from the town of Mushi, near the border with neighboring Congo-Brazzaville. The president assured families of the victims that they will receive help, and he also ordered an investigation into what caused the incident. Deadly boat accidents are common in Democratic Republic of Congo, where boats are frequently overcrowded with passengers who are rarely given safety jackets and often cannot swim. And elsewhere, South Africa's parliament is due to elect a president on Friday, and major political parties are still working out the last details of a coalition agreement that might or might not see Cyril Ramaphosa return for a second term as leader of Africa's most industrialized economy.
In reality, the only options are to become part of the government or part of the opposition. The mandate we received from the electorate is for the IFP to contribute to the effective governance of South Africa.
It appears serious after Ramaphosa's African National Congress Party said it will hold a meeting of its most senior officials in Cape Town on Thursday night, barely 12 hours before Parliament convenes in the city and begins the process of choosing the president. The final agreement between parties has been announced, and the ANC's own internal leadership also has to formally approve any coalition. South Africa has been in a political deadlock since the ANC lost its 30-year majority in an election 2 weeks ago.
And now to sports. The Minister of Sports and Physical Education, Professor Narcisse Moelle-Kombi, has reassured the technical staff of the senior men's national football team about government support to enable them emerge. Chief Professor Narcisse Moelle-Kombi made the declarations during an evaluation meeting at the end of the 2 FIFA World Cup qualification matches of the Indomitable Lions. Smart Jikan Gabriel returns to the meeting that was attended by the team captain, Vincent Abubakar. His report.
Coming on the heels of a spectacular win of 4-1 against Cape Verde and a draw against Angola in day 3 and 4 matches of the FIFA World Cup, it was an occasion for the Minister of Sports and Physical Education, Chief Professor Narcisse Moelle-Kombi, to send words of encouragement to the Indomitable Lions and the technical staff that took just few days to put up a solid team that was super performant. The courtesy visit of the technical staff of the Indomitable Lions at the Ministry of Sports and Physical Education was also an occasion for the technical staff as well as the players represented by team captain Vincent Abubakar alongside Michael Ngandun Gandri to make some observations, grievances and suggestions for a better outing in their next games. Chief Professor Narcisse Moelle-Kombi assured the technical staff of the Indomitable Lions of government continuous support to ensure future victories and urged the technical staff to start preparing the team for upcoming matches. With a long recess expected in the FIFA World Cup qualifiers, the stage will be opened for the qualifiers of the Africa Cup of Nations later this year. The draw for the AFCON have been announced for July 4th, 2024 in Johannesburg, South Africa. The 34th edition of the AFCON will be hosted by Morocco.
That's it for the first part of the news. Talking Point is up next. Tonight on Talking Point, I'll be receiving a social critic, Sama Abang Mungwa, and we're discussing on the over 1,300 candidates that have been excluded from the ongoing recruitment process of gendarme elements by the Ministry of Defense. And good evening. It is a pleasure to have you on Talking Point tonight. What was your reaction after hearing on the news that over 1,000 fake certificates were uncovered by the Ministry of Defense in the recruitment process of young soldiers and gendarmes?
Exactly, I read 1,312. What was my reaction? A reaction of déjà vu. Déjà vu, given that it's not a new phenomenon, it's not a novelty, and so it is not really like a big catch. It's not something to celebrate, but it's commendable though. I hail the minister delegate for defense for trying in his own little way to fight something that is a cankerworm in a system, something I may refer to as a public epidemic of another level, at another level. I would definitely hail him. But to say that it's something worth celebrating, no, but worth commending, yeah. But again, as I said, it is not new. It's a déjà vu, and it's a phenomenon that is in us, with us, and around us. And so it's, I just encourage him to continue in that direction.
Sama Abang, what are the potential impacts of the infiltration of fake certificates into the Cameroonian army?
You can only imagine what it means when you have an unqualified person as a physician, as a medical doctor. You can only imagine what would obtain when you have an unqualified person as a teacher teaching your kids. You can only imagine what would obtain if you have an unqualified person as a lawyer defending your rights. You can only imagine what would obtain if you have an unqualified person as a judge deciding your fate. So the same case, you can only also imagine what would obtain if you have an unqualified gendarme officer, police officer, or soldier of the rank and file who is academically unfit, having to take down your statement at a police station, at a gendarmerie station, having to examine your documents at a road control post, having to decide your fate in court. So it is not different from when you have an unqualified doctor attending to you.
And now, do you think the selection criteria used during the recruitment of soldiers into the Cameroonian Defense Force needs to be reviewed?
A review of the system, yes, but what alternative do I have to provide? We are even lucky that we are talking about an exercise that has not yet gone to completion, which means that they were detected at some midpoint stage of the exercise, which means that they have not yet been declared successful. So it is only a commendable effort, and I think the choice of the minister to do this screening exercise at this stage is quite acceptable, because we have cases of people who have entered the public service and even the private sector employment market with fake certificates and worked and gone on retirements and eventually live on their pensions with those fake certificates. I have seen cases like that with CDC. I have seen cases like that even with the University of Boya, and the marvelous job that the present Minsek did during her tenure in the university. We have seen cases of people who have earned salaries, fabulous salaries, bossed over others, occupied important positions of responsibility, determining the fates of others, even causing the deaths of some with fake certificates. I think that the choice of the minister to have detected even before they were declared successful is quite commendable. I can only say that other sectors of public administration, other sectors of public, and even in the private sector should do the same so that we can minimize. To ask whether we would ever have a 100% success rate, no, it is impossible. It is like imagining a world with no sin, zero crime. It is impossible.
And are there any justifications to the rising phenomenon?
Justifications, no. It will be like me justifying evil. It will be like me justifying criminality. it will be like me justifying Amber. It will be like me justifying the unjustifiable. But as for the factors responsible, yes, I would want to say that the rise in the phenomenon is multifaceted. Bear in mind that we are living in a technologically advanced age where the increase in technological awareness and expertise is so widespread. As much as we are encouraging our children to be computer literate and technology literate, we are also opening the floodgates for more of such phenomena. We are living now in an age of AI, artificial intelligence, where almost everything can be done by the simple act of pressing one or two computer or Android phone buttons, where you can have anything and everything from anywhere and at any time. It suffices for you to just have a data bundle and an Android phone, and you know how to manipulate it. So the phenomenon would definitely be on the increase, especially, again, given that our system is a non-functional system, a system where our people have chosen to maintain it non-functional, a system where which is not deterrent enough. As long as we are able to identify 1,312 cases of forgery, and we do not penalize, sanction them accordingly, there will be no deterrent, which means that as in 2022, we are told that they had 900 plus cases. In 2024, now we are having 1,300 plus cases, which means that deterrent measures were not put in place to deter others. But if we are in a system where election observation could be forged and falsified, and we had fake election observers in a system where election results themselves are falsified every other day, we can only be sure that we will have young men and women too who are also looking for a means of survival to also venture into such situations.
And now, how will you rate the Cameroonian armed forces? Well-trained, daring, disciplined, or let's say patriotic?
You put me in a tight corner. But I think that we have a disciplined army. I think that we have a professional army. I think that we have a patriotic army. If not for the events that we have lived in this country would not have been the same. It's not 100%, and there is no human venture that is 100%. You definitely have the bad seats in every professional corps, even in teaching where I belong, even in journalism where you belong. But I think overall, given the fact that we can still sleep with our two eyes closed, we can still sleep and snore and be sure to get up the next day, it is thanks to the armed forces and the security forces. Their excesses in some parts of the country, particularly in the northwest and the southwest, and in the far north, where we have had evidences of excesses, where we have had evidences of unprofessional behavior by a good number of them, can be understood, can be pardoned, can be explained, can be forgiven, even if we cannot forget, but we can forgive them. But if you were to ask me for an honest explanation, there is always a, should I say, moja in every profession. You have every professional corps has its own moja. So I will not use that one isolated case to discredit an entire military corps. But I think that much still has to be done, especially in the area of human rights awareness.
Sama Abang Mungwa, social critics, thank you so much for your time. And that's what put an end to today's edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe Television. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us, for we are coming up with other interesting programs that is Equinoxe presented by Serge Alain Otu and the news in the French language at exactly 8 p.m. Stay with us if you can.